Okay. So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not really sure what's gonna come out of this video. I don't know if I'm going to post the whole thing. I don't know if I'm gonna edit it. I don't know if I'm gonna like cut and paste, you know, maybe like take little chunks and post them later. I'm trying not to figure it out. I'm trying to just go with the flow and speak. Excuse me. I'm terrified. You know, I've been getting the message to speak my truth. And, you know, last night I was, you know, really getting into this conversation with God about my truth. And how am I supposed to speak my truth if I don't know what my truth is? In reality, how do I not know what my truth is? It's my truth. The truth of the truth is I don't wanna. I don't wanna face it. I got blocks up, I got walls up, but true to my tower fashion lately, we're gonna send all those crumbling down right now, so we'll see. I guess really what catapulted this whole thing is my 40-day journey. Very few people know about this. Really only like one, maybe two. I might have mentioned it to a second person like in a message, but we never got into depth about it. God, I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna be all over and rambling, whatever. That's why I said my prayer. I want God's message to come out. I want to be a conduit for Him and His love and speak His word. That's why I'm here. I believe that. So 40 days. This came to me in the shower. Maybe like a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. Probably like 2 weeks. I was having like a great day, like the day before. I spent time with my family, even though I didn't really want to. I did, and it was a good day. There was no hostility, there was no arguing, there was nothing, no anger. I prepared myself for it, which I think had a big part of it, but it was a good day. And then, you know, the morning of the next day, the follow, was a good day also. And then slowly, like, this sadness started washing over me. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, is this me? Is this mine? Like, why am I feeling this? I've been so great. Like, I don't get it. And it came to me, you're in your 40 days. Now, I guess I have to backtrack a little bit and say that, obviously, I've been a recluse lately. I've been in full-blown hermit mode, and I have firmly believed that I need to. I'm supposed to. Everything that's happened was done by divine orchestration. With my participation, but I'll get into that later. So there are times when like worldly stuff kind of gets to me because, you know, we're living in this world, and I would let other people's opinions of, you know, be careful spending too much time alone, you know, have you been reaching out to people, are you doing this, are you doing that, like, you know, you don't want to be alone too much. And I would like try to reach out to people and everybody would be busy, and then I'd like get kind of upset about it, like I have no one, and then I'd be like, Jennifer, silly, you orchestrated your life like this, like you created it like this, you deliberately have a very small group of friends that are not friends with each other. You did that on purpose. But really, I knew that it needed to be done. Like, I would reach out to people thinking like, I'm gonna be of the world because I'm living in this world. No matter what I'm going through spiritually, like, I'm still part of this world. But then I kept getting like shut down in a way, like, if you're not done yet, you're not ready yet, don't do it. You need to be full and secure before you step back out. I didn't understand it. I knew the significance of 40 days. I know that it's in a lot of spiritual teachings. It's mentioned in a lot of religions. A lot of the ascended masters or prophets or whatever you want to call them have been through it. And people still go through it. People voluntarily still do it. It's the purpose of a lot of religious times. I don't really know the word to say for it. I don't want to speak on other people's experiences or other people's religions because those are not my stories to tell. So I'd rather not. I'm here to tell you my story. So anyway, 40 days, like, just knowing that, like, brought peace to me because it let me know that there was an end coming. I wasn't going to be stuck here forever. Not that I felt stuck, but I just wasn't sure. You know, like, I don't really know what's happening. You know, this whole entire process has been very bizarre to me because it doesn't follow, like, the typical trend of my life. And I'll say that because, so, you know, obviously this stems from my accident, but I couldn't figure out the accident. It didn't make sense to me because okay, I'm gonna reference the tarot real quick. And I know that some people are into the tarot and some people are, like, really against it. And I'm gonna preface it by saying that everything is what you make of it. It is your intention behind everything that gives it its meaning. And I'm gonna reference it because I think that they're just a way to explain things. My voice just trembled there. Did you hear that? See, okay, that's part of my problem when it comes to speaking my truth. I'm afraid to offend people. I need to stop doing that. It doesn't matter whether people agree with me or whether people understand me. My message is for people, and the people who are meant to hear it will hear it. That was for me. That was my own kind of guidance there. Okay, so when it comes to tarot, you have the Tower card. And the Tower card follows the Devil card, which represents your ego. And then, you know, like, shadowy stuff like addictions and things like that. It's also the card for Capricorn, but that's neither here nor there. But it's then followed by the Star. So the Shadow card is the crumbling. It is the wiping out down to the foundation, sometimes even the foundation, to rebuild. And that's what the Star does. The Star starts the rebuilding process. Because the tarot is just a journey. And, you know, I also need to say this, that some people are clairvoyant, they can see things. Some people are clairaudient, they hear things. And I really believe that the tarot is just a way for people to see. It's a way for them to get in touch with God and kind of hear, like, tune everything out, and they focus on the cards and they get the story. Like I said, your intention rules everything. So it's what you intend when you're laying the cards out. But anyway, so the Tower. I've had a lot of Tower moments in my life. You know, I talk about kind of like living on the edge and doing what I want, even if I know I shouldn't, because I've been the type of person that needs to experience things. And I need to experience them for myself. You can't tell me something. You can't tell me what's going to work or what's going to happen, or I need to know. Like, I need to know for myself. And I believe my path and my purpose in this life, and I've kind of mentioned this before, is that I came here to do that so that I could help you or whoever. It's like I've lived 1,000 lives just in this one lifetime. Really, really have. I've gone through so much, and if you knew me here, or you knew me here, or you knew me here, or you know me now, it would have to be, like, mind-blowing. Like, sometimes I wonder, like, what my family thinks when they see me, because, you know, they're the only ones who really see me through the entire process. You know, sometimes I wonder if people, you know, from my past are looking at me now like, the fuck? When did she get all spiritual and philosophical and stuff, trying to fight people all the time and like, you know, all that stuff. And then, but I mean, whatever. They're experiences, it's all part of my journey. I believe I did it deliberately. So tower moments tend to follow me because I'm very hard-headed and I'm very stubborn, and like I said, I want to experience things for myself even if I know they're not right. And that also, I believe, is something that a lot of people do, especially women. We'll get to that too. Going against the grain of what you know is right, not following your intuition. So when the accident happened, first of all, it's very traumatic. I've never been in that position before. I have absolutely no recollection of what happened. I don't know, which is kind of the most terrifying part. I don't know what happened. I just know that I woke up and my world was literally smashed to bits. But I couldn't figure out why. And I tried to not put that spiritual layer on it. I do that with everything because I don't believe in accidents. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe everything has a divine purpose. I believe in free will. We make our own choices. You know, you decided for that to happen, but I couldn't figure it out because I'm like, you know, I've been in situations where, you know, the hammer came down on me because I was not doing the right thing. I was not following my purpose. And that's what I believe the tower moments come to do. When you are choosing to ignore what's right for you. God whoosh, strikes it down. I just totally went into this rant about like explaining the tower to you. But anyway, it's beneficial because I did not understand. I'm like, this car accident is clearly a tower moment because my entire world, whoosh, blank slate, totally wiped clean. I have nothing now. And I'm like, I don't get it because I thought I was doing everything right. I was leaving a situation that didn't serve me. Like literally, it was like my last time to be there because I have a habit of kind of like putting other people's feelings first sometimes and staying in a situation that's not good for me until I blow it up. But I wasn't doing that, and I had even spoken like I don't want this to happen, so I'm gonna stop here. And you know, I was opening my business, and my grand opening in my healing center was the next weekend. I wasn't contacting people that I needed to have space from. So I was like, I don't get it. Why? Why the tower? And then somebody said something to me that was like, choosing, like, because that was all crap. Like, I haven't been, you know, contacting. I'm throwing this one out there for a reason. And the person was like, well, choosing not to do something is still choosing. You're still putting effort into not doing it. True. But anyway. Immediately following the accident, there was a lot of confusion. I was presented with a lot of things that I had asked for a very long time. But deep down inside, I was doubting them. And I was like, this isn't right though. This isn't the way that it was supposed to happen. And is this real? Is this genuine? Am I going to question this later? Are we going to wake up one day and be like, what the fuck? Again, not my place to question what God has given me, especially when it's something that I asked for. But it's done. Now, I have to say, my last really bad concussion was a tower moment. I was allowing myself to stay in a position that I shouldn't have been in until God literally hit me upside the head and was like, you're not anymore. Stop it. This is literally not good for you. You are dragging your feet and dragging it out for nothing. You're not really helping anybody, and you are becoming more and more miserable. So then God was like, oh, guess what? Now you can't drive because you lost all your motor skills. And I did. I couldn't speak. I was in bed for weeks on brain rest, staring at a blank wall, no TV, no phone, no computer, no music. Nobody was allowed to come talk to me, except to come make sure I wasn't seizing. Had the craziest dreams and waking up with random songs in my head because all I did was sleep. It was like my brain rewiring and putting itself back together. But anyway, I developed a stutter. I developed a lisp. I couldn't hold a pen for a really long time. God forbid I try to like look down and write and then look back up. Like I felt like the world was closing in on me, and spins and dizziness and blah blah. So anyway, none of that happened this time. All of my motor skills were like totally intact, and I took advantage of that. And I just kept pushing through, like, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna open my business, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna make my videos and all that, even though I don't know who I am. And that's key, because I literally woke up every morning for over a month and did not know where I was. That is a terrifying feeling that people take for granted. And you don't even know that you're taking it for granted, because it's like one of those things you don't realize it until it's gone. But I would look in the mirror like, I don't know you. I know your name is Jennifer. Who are you? Look around. Feel zero connection to anything or anyone. The only person I truly felt connected to was my son. I'm still a little bit weird though, but he was my grounding. You know, I'd wake up and I'd touch him and I'd be like, okay. Because I'd be like, where am I? And then I'd touch him and I'd be like, okay, this is my son. I am in my bed. I am in my house. And then things would start to come back to me. But then the next morning I'd wake up and all over again. It was like 50 first dates. But people, I had no connection to anybody. I mean, I had no connection to myself. I literally didn't know who I was on a soul level. So one thing about the accident that I remember, because I was like in and out of it, I remember being in the ambulance and I don't really know if I was awake or not. Like, I know I was in the ambulance, but in my mind's eye, I knew I was laying down, but I could see all of the me's around me. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, everybody's got different sides to them, different pieces and personalities. They were all there. Even the ones that I don't know and I can't identify. Some of them have their own names. I don't have multiple personalities any more than anybody else does, but they're just different characteristics, you know? They were all there. And they were looking over me and they're like, what are we gonna do with her now? Great. Like, that was the whole vibe. Like, they knew that I was fucked up. This one fucked me up. So, what people don't talk about when it comes to concussions is that it can cause severe depression. Severe depression. Concussions themselves can/are PTSD. I've been diagnosed with both several times in my life. I actually made a joke to my doctor this time around when he told me I had PTSD. I'm like, I've already had that. Can I have something else this time? But people don't talk about the depression. They don't talk about what's really happening with your brain. And maybe they feel like, you know, people with a brain injury can't comprehend it at the moment. You know, they don't get it, but they don't talk about it until it's too late, unfortunately. So, I don't know, maybe I'm throwing this out there to help somebody else. But, so, about 2 weeks after the accident, I hit like this really, really low point, you guys. Like, I don't remember it. I don't remember a lot, honestly. And when I speak about things that have happened, it's because I have a video diary in my phone that I started before the accident, and I picked up again after the accident, and that's how I remember these things. But, and this incident ties into that. But, so apparently, I started sending out messages to people that caused worry, for lack of better words. I was calling people and texting people and sending Facebook messages that were scary enough to have a slew of them show up at my door and escort me to the hospital. Even my doctor called my mom and told her to come get me and take me to the hospital. While I was waiting for her, one of my best friends showed up. While we were walking to the car, my ex-husband showed up. I mean, I was reaching out. I do not remember sending a single message. People would tell me later, like, yeah, I got a weird message from you. And I asked what was going on. I never heard back. And then you text me a couple days later and said, sorry, I was in the hospital. I'm good. I'm like, yep, don't remember. Don't remember. That moment, it was not the accident. It was that moment started my 40-day journey. Twofold. Prior to that, I made a video about everything. And it's actually really heartbreaking. Like, I watched it a couple times and I hate it. But I was talking about Chiron and how Chiron's the wounded healer, but Chiron couldn't heal himself. Like, I'm telling the story in this video, and my face is like swollen. I'm crying. I've been crying for days. You can tell. You can tell. And I said that I always say there's no air in my chart, and the only place you find air in my chart, and I don't talk about it, is Chiron, and it's Gemini. My Chiron is in Gemini. Gemini represents the twins. There's two different interpretations for that. I'm going to leave them alone for now because this is a truth that I will probably speak on one day, but I'm not going to today. I don't feel that it's ready and or necessary. So in this video, I'm like crying about how, you know, I feel like I am stuck in this loop. I always end up back in this spot, and then when I feel this way, I'm like, why am I always here? It's always gonna come back to this. I'm a terrible mom. How can I provide a life for my child? Like, what am I doing? And then how it, like, I stopped myself and I was like, what? I don't want to die. And in the video, I'm like crying because I'm like, I've never stopped a suicidal thought before. Ever. It's not, like, I'm not going to go too deep into that. Preface is for this. The next day, I started reaching out to people subconsciously. Now, mind you, like, I don't know what's going on. My higher self, my God self, my side that is still connected to God, and the part of me that is here are like, something's happening here. I didn't finish telling you about the accident in the tower moment, did I? I guess I need to kind of explain those two sides to me real quick, which might make the ambulance scene a little bit, make sense a little bit more. So, prior to the accident, and I've told people this, even though I'm not really resonating with that memory now. I know that I've spoken of it prior to the accident and then immediately following, so I know that this was real. But I said I felt like ever since, I don't know, maybe August of last year, I felt like my life is like riding two parallel waves. Everything is really great, and I won't complain ever. I will never say my life sucks or my life is bad or blah, blah, blah. It's not true. My life is fabulous. But on the other hand, a lot of really shitty things happen to me. Like the accident. Prior to the accident, I started losing my concept of time. I even posted I'm looking for my phone and I'm recording on it. I posted a video. I had picked up A Course in Miracles. I talked about that in another video for the first time since my last concussion. And I had highlighted and took a picture and posted it on Instagram about time and how time is used as a tool for healing. And once it is no longer needed, it will cease to exist. I posted that morning of the accident. And I was talking about how I have no concept of time, and then accident happened, and then it gets worse. Like, I literally have no concept of time now. Like, I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. Like, all of a sudden I'm like, why is it dark? And I'm like, oh shit, it's 9 o'clock. I haven't eaten all day. Like, oh god, I gotta do that. But I told you I was gonna be all over the place. I'm so sorry. There's a purpose. I promise. I don't know why I felt like I needed to bring that back up, but I did. Anyway, I'll move on there. I'm going to keep jumping back to the accident. Okay, I just got that. I'm going to continue on, but I'll keep going back to that because there's going to be points that I need to bring up, but they'll make sense along the way. So I started sending out these messages to people. Sad, worrisome. They triggered worry in a lot of people. I ended up back in the hospital. Luckily, I ended up with some doctors who knew that these problems were stemming from my concussion, not that I actually had a depression problem. They're like, you were fine 2 weeks ago. You were on top of the world, and now all of a sudden... I was telling them, I'm like, I don't want to kill myself, but I don't want to live anymore. And they're like, that's actually really normal. And I was like, it is? Why don't they tell you that you might have these emotions? Because that's what confuses people, and that's why people actually do kill themselves following a concussion or a brain injury or whatever. So I hate to break it to everybody now, but if it seemed like I was saying goodbye to you in those messages, I was. I may not have known it at the time what I was doing, but when I wrote you those notes telling you how much I loved you and how much I appreciated you, I was saying goodbye. I died that day. Not physically. Obviously, I'm still here. I didn't attempt to take my own life. That didn't happen. Let's squash those rumors before they start. But I did die that day. The girl who came home is not the same girl that went in. That girl shouldn't exist anymore. And I'm really sorry to say that, and I know that that's going to upset some people. I'm not upset. And I've said that since the accident, and I do believe that that's where the memory loss stems from, is because it's not needed anymore. Those things are not necessary for my healing to occur. So that day, you can look at it, we're going to look at it on two timelines. Timeline number 1 was that day, was day 1. Day 40 was the day I posted my Sagittarius full moon video. And I said in that video, that was the most me that I have felt in months. That's the most energetic I felt, a genuine energetic. So timeline 2 is the Saturday, the next day following, 2 days later. Yeah, I sent the messages on Thursday. Okay, so 2 days later, Saturday. I can't believe I remember that. That was day 1. Because I posted something else saying, I'm sorry, I have to take a break. I've been ignoring my recovery. You're not going to see a lot of me. I'm going to try to kind of stay relevant, but I'm not going to be around, really, is what I was saying. And I posted this, this quote of, what if the things that you consider your personality are just, I forget exactly how it goes, but what if they're just things that you created as a coping mechanism to deal with trauma? What if that's not really you? I don't even know if that was really relevant to the post, but I posted it. Again, I was saying goodbye. She gone. So that day one is 40 days today. It doesn't really matter which timeline you look at because time's not real. I got that message of, you're in your 40 days. Stop trying to push out, because trying to push out is why you're here. Because there have been a lot of opportunities for me to chill and do the work. And I've done the work, but not to the extent that I needed to. That was my tower moment. The accident was not triggering a change. The accident was not the crumbling of the foundation. The accident was sealing a chapter. It was closing the door. It was the final moment. But that was the marking of, now go. Every religion and every spiritual practice talks about 40 days. In some form or another, there's a story that goes along with it. And I believe that's what religions are. I believe every good book is a book of stories for a reason. They're metaphors. It's like listening to music, you know, and people they use metaphors to explain something else. Like that's how I view it. Even when you go back into like the Greeks and the Romans and all their gods and goddesses, like they're all stories to teach you something about yourself and your relationship with God and the world. But I mean all of them. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, paganism. I mean all of them. Even if you're not a religious person, they encourage you to go on this take 40 days, meditate for 40 days, do this for 40 days. Like it's a repetitive number for a reason. Like 40 is a master number. It's an important number. You'll figure it out on your own one day. It'll come to you. So I've been spending time on it because I'm like, all right, I know this is important, but I don't know why. Like, the concept of 40 days, like I said, it gave me peace. It washed over me. It gave me the courage and the confidence to know that it'll end. You will reemerge, butterfly. I knew that I was going to reemerge a totally different person. I did. I've known that the whole time. I'm okay with that too. Seriously, I've already been a million people in my life. Like, what's one more? But I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like, the stories that I'm familiar with, like I said, I'm not going to talk on other people's stories because they're not my stories to tell. But the ones that I'm familiar with, fasting. No, I used to fast for Lent all the time just to be like, oh, I'm going to feel big. But why do you fast? I'm going to throw this out there real quick. If you participate in Lent, you giving up something is supposed to bring you closer to God. And if people just think like, I'm going to give up this and yay, they made this some grand scheme of things. You're supposed to meditate and pray whenever you're faced with temptation. Like Jesus did in the desert. That's the point of that story in that time of year. I'm not going to speak on Ramadan because I'm not Muslim, but I believe that their fasting is also to bring you closer to God. But like I said, I don't know. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. But that goes with the story of Lent. You know, Jesus was tempted by the devil in the desert. That was the whole point. Closer to God. Moses spent 40 days on Mount Sinai. pleading for the Israelites. I mean, the references are repetitive in these great books. These are just the ones that I know because of my upbringing and where I live, but I'm not saying I follow them, but 40 days is important. I do believe that all these great teachers are great teachers for a reason. So I really started to dig deep. Like, what else do I know? I know the 40 days is relevant in other areas. Why? How is this relevant to me? Like, what am I really learning here? Why am I doing this? I know it's important. I know it needs to happen. But why? So I started thinking about alchemy. I love alchemy. Transmutation is one of my favorite words because I'm always transforming into something else. So I'm learning that 40 days in alchemy is considered the period of purging for purification pre-transmutation. What's purification? I mean, I know what it is, but I'm like, that word's chosen for a reason. Purification, the Latin word, I looked this up, I wrote it down because I wanted to be accurate. The literal translation of the Latin word, I don't speak Latin, so I'm not going to say it, means free from extraneous matter. That means free from all the shit in 2018. That's what the purification stands for, is to be free of shit, literally. One website I read said it is not possible to advance on the spiritual path without going through a process of purification. Pre me entering the hospital for a second time, I was sitting on my porch talking to somebody that we didn't vibrationally align prior to the accident. But I reached out to her following because I don't know why. I was guided to. And she has been she's been the beam that's holding up my wall while my foundation sets. Does that make sense? You know, like you stick the, I don't lay concrete and I don't build houses. I don't know the terms, but if you were to put a wooden post in wet concrete, it'll fall over until the concrete sets. Like, you gotta have something propping it up, right? Like this. There you go, like that. She's been that post for me. Keep me from tipping. But she said to me, when I was explaining to her, like, I'm not connecting with myself, like, on a soul level, I don't know who I am. Anyway, it came about later, because I was like, I'm not connecting to myself. How am I supposed to connect to everything else and everybody else? And she was like, well, now you know what Jesus said when he said, I'm not of the world, I'm in it. Whoa. I feel like I need to say here that Jesus and I have had a really rocky relationship from my own doing, because I'm such a religion rebel that I have kind of turned my nose up from it. And I think that, I mean, it was probably needed to get me to where I am, but I think that's a downfall that a lot of people have. If you use the word universe because you don't want to use the word God, that's something you need to look at. I use all of them interchangeably so that other people can understand. They're all the same to me. I've always believed in Jesus and followed Jesus' teachings. He's a great teacher. He preaches love, like love each other. That's what God wants us to do. But I really struggled with him because of what other people have done to his image. But anyway, when she said that to me, I was like, it really hit me deep. And I knew that that was going to be a turning point for me. Remember, prior to my 40 days. So, what was the point of that comment? Not of the world, I'm just in it. Free of the shit? Was that my tie-in? Because I don't even know what my point is. God, I hope all this comes out the way you want it to. So anyway, free of the shit. So I can't reemerge into the world until I am free of all the shit. Why? Because I'll get sucked back in. I do it all the time. I went through a life-changing experience in October. For a lot of people, they go through these experiences a lot. For me, it doesn't really happen because I'm a closed-off, guarded person, and I don't let these things happen to me by divine design, my own divine design. But this experience needed to happen to catapult a change in me, because I was just gonna keep on living my life the way I was living it, and portraying a face and not really owning up to it, talking the talk but not walking the walk kind of thing. I wasn't meaning to do it. I wasn't intending to be that way, but that's really what was happening. You know, I'm being this person, but then to the people closest to me, I'm still eat this apple. I was referring to Snow White, but I bet a lot of you just thought I was the snake, huh? Same thing. So anyway, this incident happened in October. It was life-changing for me. Really. On a personal level, it was really life-changing. And it catapulted this change in me and this, forward motion of everything I should have been doing that I wasn't. It took a 6-year journey and smashed it into 6 months. It was amazing. I was blown away almost every single day that this was happening and still happening, and I'm still forcing it to happen. I'm playing this. Yeah, let's go. Come on, teach me more. Give me more. I want to learn about myself. Not really. It was awful, but I was enjoying it also at the same time. Parallel worlds. Remember I talked about that. Anyway, so all that happened in 6 months. Well, from the accident to now, it multiplied by 50. All of these things that I'm talking about have really smashed in and exploded for me. I've been isolated from the world. So following that second hospital visit, God, I should just re-record this. Following that second hospital visit, they said, okay, well, it's not just a regular concussion. You have another brain injury. It just affected a different part of your brain. I have my motor skills, but now I'm suffering memory loss, all this stuff, PTSD. Again, you need to rest. You need to not do anything. But it was needed. I needed to be in isolation, because if I didn't, I could not clear myself of all the shit. And if I didn't clear myself of all the shit, it was going to keep coming up. And how can I really be who I'm supposed to be here in the world if I can't handle my own stuff? The heartbreaks that I experienced following the accident needed to happen, because I needed to be in isolation. The friendship that I built needed to happen because I needed to have the support of somebody who understood what was unfolding. And they were physically close enough to me to be a constant support. The friendships that I've developed over the years needed to happen because I needed to have people who understood me in a way that knew just because I was taking space didn't mean that I was not committed to our friendship anymore. It all needed to happen. The days that I was supposed to be out in the world and was flooded with anxiety and didn't do it needed to happen because I wasn't ready. I would have fallen right back down. I was not spiritually strong enough to go back out in the world and do my work. I think I am now. I have spent the last couple days reviewing these video diaries that I don't really remember making. A lot of them are following like aha moments. So like some are like when I'm driving in the car before the accident. Some are like when I've woken up and I just had a dream and I'm like, I gotta record this. And some of them are like following a really deep meditation. And it's so funny because I'm like, I don't remember this, but I'm so glad I recorded it because then I can look back on it and see. So there were a few times where I'm like, wow, girl, you said in that video you weren't going to do it again. And look, there you did it again. Throwing daggers with your words. And it was really eye-opening because it gave me the opportunity to see how I'm still doing it. Had I not been completely in seclusion and isolation, I wouldn't have seen it so clearly. Experiencing the oneness that I was feeling prior to the accident and then the accident catapulting it, like even though I'm alone, I'm not alone. I'm still connected to everyone. Really gave me a different view on the world also. Something else that needed to happen. I'm going to go back to alchemy for a minute because I feel like alchemy is a way to really like explain everything like ties together. Spiritual alchemy is, I mean, what's alchemy? Alchemy is changing metal into gold, right? Transmutation, that's what they call it. So spiritual alchemy is transforming yourself into gold, I think. Like if we were base metal, we're turning ourselves into gold. And I think that's what all the great masters did. And that's why they took their 40-day journey, was to purify themselves so that they could transcend and ascend into the next level. And I'm grateful and I'm honored to have had this opportunity. I am so excited for where my path is going to go from here. Like I've known, this experience has really pointed out to me, like I thought I was dreaming big before. I mean, I'm like, now, like, I mean, the whole world is literally at my fingertips. So I'll leave you with this. This 40-day period of purification. Getting rid of the shits. This state, I'm reading off my notes here. This state is where a clear separation between substances occurs. 40 days of purification is where a clear separation of substances occurs. Your lower vibrations to your higher ones. If I was not in isolation, like I said, I could not see clearly where I was still stuck in patterns, in beliefs, in defense mechanisms. I kept myself stuck there, and I couldn't see clearly what I was doing to get myself out. I knew what I was doing. Since October, I've been made aware of what I'm doing, but I couldn't see how I was doing it or how deep-rooted it really was. So take the step back, really separate and see. And that's what I did. I will say, there's been so much that I need to do in my house, and I like keep trying to do it, and I haven't been able to do it because I'm like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Stop distracting yourself and go do what you need to do. Speak your truth. Here's my truth, guys. I'm not the same person that I was prior. The person that you are about to see and experience is a totally different person. I don't really know who she is either. You know, we're all going to be meeting her together. I guess I've kind of been meeting her, but the truth is, here's my truth. I am here as a messenger of God. I am a divine being, as are you. I am both a god and a goddess. I am loved, and I love. We need to stop separating each other. We are not separate beings. We are not separate souls. We are here to do great work. And as long as we keep fighting, we won't get it done. We are entering a time period of now or never. You're either coming with or you're getting left behind. I am you. I am every master that ever walked before me. I am every child that's ever going to follow me. I am here to deliver God's word in a way that certain people will understand, as was every master before me. Because we're all not going to understand the same person. We all don't speak the same language, and by language I mean vibration. We're all in different spaces. We need to get our messages differently. I have never been turned off to the coincidences. You know, I don't believe in them in my life. I know I am who I am for a reason. I know my name is what it is for a reason. I have never not known that. I may have been scared of it. Maybe I am a little bit still because I'm getting prickles. Deep down inside, I know how powerful I am, and I know why I'm here. And I promise that I will fulfill my path and my destiny. I am here to serve you. I am here to help you, bring you closer to God. I'm here to speak the truth. Even though at times I'm terrified and my voice shakes, I promise that I will always speak the truth, and I will do it with love. I can't talk anymore about this. Oh God. I hope I said what I needed to say. I have a lot more to say, but I need to cut this video out because I'm already gonna have to edit a lot. 40 days.